on social media or on whatever and say, oh, ta-da, I'm an addict. Like, it doesn't work like that. You know, people aren't bringing you a top hat and having, you know, tuna casseroles at your house. And, you know, I knew the fear, and I remember what I had went through, but, you know, there was something in me that said, I got to do this. I just had to do this. And some of my family members, I'm a full-blooded Italian, you know, they're like, oh, that's going to be for the rest of your life. And I said, but you know what? It's okay. I'm okay with this following me to the day that I die. I'm okay with it, and I am. I'm very comfortable. It's funny that my primary care physician, even after 5-6 years of going to the same doctor, I still walk in there and say, hey, I'm Stacy, I'm a heroin addict, and he'll be like, you're a recovering heroin addict. It's like, you know what? But I'm comfortable with saying I'm a heroin addict. I don't have to say recovering in front of it because I don't care how you feel. You know, I'm comfortable with it, and I just got to a place to where I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do rallies. I'm ready to advocate. I'm ready to just help whoever needs help. Like, that's it. I literally got enough recovery for myself to where my cup was so full, it was tipping over, so it was time to spread the message that, yeah, you can do 15 rehabs. You can look at 30 years in prison. You can lose your kids. You can, same movie, different characters, but you can recover. And I did, and I'm doing it. And, you know, anybody, if I can get clean, man, I know a lot of people say it's kind of like becoming a cliche. Anybody can get clean. Anybody can get clean.
I know that's right.
Anybody can do this. Anybody. And I was a chick that everybody looked at and said, dude, that chick is a straight-up junkie. She's going to die. And here I am looking back like, no, I'm not going to die. I'm going to do this, and I'm probably going to help somebody that either you know or yourself that looked at me and said, I wasn't going to be able to do this, and I'm okay with that today.
Since the show is called Shattering the Stigma, what's some of the stigma that you felt along the way?
Oh, where does that laundry list end? Well, you know, I mean, like I said, starting with the methadone clinic, it was a big secret that I was going in the methadone clinic. You know, the stigma out here, it's like, and I'll just compare counties. So you go out to, like, Ann Arbor or Macomb County, and you go to an anonymous meeting. You can't even get a seat, you know, because there's so many people. But in my area, which it blows my mind, you'll have 3,500 people in this little surrounding area on methadone, and you'll be lucky if you break 8 or 9 people at an anonymous meeting. You know, we have fought with the health departments, and I mean, it's been a fight the whole entire time that I've been advocating. As you know, I was the vice president of another drug harm coalition. I was very proud of being the vice president, and I watched everything unfold. I watched us birth all the things that are happening now, like I'm also certified as a Narcan trainer. We were the ones that originally walked the Narcan into the Oakland County Sheriff's Department because people just they didn't want this. I will never forget when I used to wear my no heroin shirt and the looks that I would get. But then the funny part is that some of those people that did, though, one eye bigger than the other one, like how could she dare walk through a Walmart in Rochester Hills like that, would come up to me later and tug me on my shoulder and say, hey, can we talk? And I'm like, well, yeah. The stigma out here is awful. Can I say that it's starting to lift a little bit? Sure. I sure can. But we're way behind than other counties. We're way behind than other states, you know, and I don't understand because I always use this as an example. So when what was that flu called? The bird flu or whatever. One person died from that, but you've seen signs all over Oakland County.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere.
Same with Zika. We're spending billions. I don't think anybody I know knows anybody that was affected by Zika.
Right. But yet you've seen it everywhere. Everybody was talking about it, you know, but for some reason in this area, and I'll leave names out, but what I will tell you is that meeting with certain committees and boards, what I had learned was the reason why they did not want this to come out was because it would bring down the real estate. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to these people, you know, and they're way high up in the food chain, whatever you want to call it, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, break your real estate. I'm like, you don't think when a person goes to buy a house and there's yellow tape around the house because someone overdosed that they're not going to break that real estate? Like, what?
And that's part of the stigma and part of the shame. I know a lot of high schools where they actually find needles and things, and the school's doing nothing about it and keeping it hush-hush because they don't want to lose their rating as a school, or they don't want this, or they don't want that. And it's like, for God's sakes, what about the people that might die because you're worried about what people might think?
Well, because it hasn't, it's like, okay, so what I explain to people, it's human nature. It is human nature to not understand something till it touches you. That's just human nature. I went in front of the Waterford School District, as a matter of fact, and, you know, we were doing our best to advocate inside the schools. And I said, what I don't understand is that during prom season, you guys put a crashed-up car in front of the high school to bring awareness. I don't understand why you don't want to bring awareness to drugs. Like, it's happening. I had nieces that were going to the school that were telling me people were snorting things in the bathroom. You know, it's like, it's here, it's happening, and I couldn't understand. And I'll never forget the board lied and said, well, we're meeting with your organization and whatever at the end of the month. And I looked behind at my ex-president and I said, meeting with us? You just kicked us out of the other board meeting last month. What do you mean? Like, yeah, they kicked us out, literally kicked us out because we were begging them, please let us get into these schools. These kids are dying.
You know, one of the things that I've been seeing is there will be forums that, you know, different cities will do, and it'll be with, you know, nothing against it. Might be with a coroner, sheriff, someone from the police department, you know, those entities. And I've sat through different ones, and a lot of the talk was where the drugs are coming from, how they're getting there, different things that have absolutely nothing to do with what's going to solve the problem. What are we going to do with these people now? And same as you, I know a lot of organizations that tried to get in with the schools, and their answers were, well, we already have a forum set up. Yeah, but your forum's not real, and it's not giving people info they need, and it's not giving them resources, and it's not telling them of all these different laws that they need to know about, especially like the Good Samaritan Act and what an overdose looks like. And, you know, one of them that I was at, I swear on my life, I couldn't believe when they asked, what are some symptoms to know if your child is using in the house to look for? And they said, well, if shoestrings are missing and your child used to be happy and now they're sad, or vice versa, you probably got a problem. And I'm thinking, okay, I think that explains pretty much any teenager, you know? I mean, that sure is not the symptoms, that alone, being happy and sad.
That's puberty.
That's part of being a teenager. But I think they're afraid, you know? I think they're afraid. They don't know what to do, but they want to have control of it, and they're afraid to take chances on talking to people that have been there, that can give the real info, and that are really willing to help and give some answers and hope to the family and the addicts.
Well, and what gets me is that about 2 years, well, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the state of Michigan had formed a drug task force team, and I was actually at the Lansing Capitol when they opened tables for discussion. There's a newspaper article, actually, it's with me sitting at the table saying a recovering addict, blah, blah, blah. And I remember looking at that drug task force team, and Deborah Garrett from Real Michigan even noticed there was not one recovering addict on that board. Like, we are your best resource. Why are you not letting us in? You know, it's things like this and things like what, you know, we're doing as recovering addicts. We are your best resource. We are the source. Like, I don't care where you go to school. I don't care if you went to Oakland University. You are not. You're going off textbook. Like, you get a recovering addict, we're raw. We're going to tell you exactly what you are not going to know, what you probably will not be able to see. The family members, yes, they have knowledge of some things too. Okay, I will never, ever underestimate the knowledge of a family member. But what I will tell you is a recovering addict, we are the best resources for what people are trying to achieve with this, you know, advocating and rallying, all this stuff. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, if you have somebody that's clean off drugs and alcohol, why are you not using us as a resource? You know what I mean? Like, you say that when we are in our addiction, we're a liability to society. We can all agree to that. I've even put it on my Facebook. We get into recovery, we become an asset. What is the problem? What are we missing here? Like, if you have something that's happening and you have resources out there, why wouldn't you use them? What does it make sense to have a drug task force team with no recovering on the team? Nobody's in recovery. Well, that's like the blind leading the blind in my eyes.
Would you do me a favor and hit on, I know you've got a new project that you're a part of, The
Which one?
With
one of the events that are coming up?
Nope, with the overdoses.
Which one though? Like the Narcan? There's so many of them.
I want to say the Angel, something Angel.
Oh, Hope Not Handcuffs. So, in Macomb County, they have started a program. Yes, I am actually one of the recovery angels. I'm glad you brought that up. We did a training, and it's got a lot of work it needs to be done. So what happens is that an addict walks into the police station, and they're either turning in their needle or they're walking in, and they need help. Instead of the police station arresting my people, they will call somebody like me with access to a bed, and I will sit with this person and say, okay, let's talk, let's do this, what do you want to do? Do you want to go into treatment now? I'm basically going to walk into these police stations. I'm going to walk out with my people and take them into recovery and bring them into a detox bed instead of arresting them and locking them up, because we all know it does not work. I can vouch for that. So that's where the link is, that, we're still puzzling this stuff together. But what I will say is, so far, ACHC FAN has done an amazing job of putting this together when, there's no, it has a lot of work to be done. It will be launched February 1st, but it's just like trial and error with everything else. We're going to go in, we're going to do it, and we're going to work things out, as we go along. I think this will be a great thing. There is a couple police stations that were on the fence, of course, and I knew this was going to happen, that want to arrest when the person walks in there. And when we were at the training, I raised my hand and I said this. I said, I want the list of the police stations that are going to arrest, because I refuse to walk into that police station and say, oh, here, I'm Hope Not Handcuffs to Angel. I'll see you when you get out of jail. What the? What?
Yeah.
What? You might as well just give them my personal cell phone number, and I'll meet them down the road.
Right, they don't even need to come there.
Myself. Yeah. So that's the only thing I did not like about that. Other than that, about 97% of it sounds like a beautiful thing. It really does. And, of course, the only police station that's on board through Oakland County is Ferndale. So, of course, you know me, I have some work I need to do, because this needs to happen out here, too. So it sounds like it's going to be a good thing. I'm actually stoked that I'm involved, because, anybody that's been around me or on my social media will tell you I'm the first to jump in my car and do what needs to be done to get somebody. It don't matter what day it is or what time. So it sounds like it's a good thing, and it is happening already in 27 other states. So the outline is set. There's guidelines and there's some paperwork that came with it, and it sounds like it's a pretty good thing. And, I can't really report on it yet, but I will be posting things as it's going along and as it's happening.
I'm anxious to see those things. So,
yeah, I'm anxious to be a part of it.
On a different note, you're going to be at an event that we're doing in Michigan, in Lansing.
I'm stoked, yes.
It's with Bubba Sparks and Recovering Artists Worldwide Overdose Tour. So I can't wait to see you. I haven't seen you since last year.
Yeah, I'm excited. And you got to remember, too, this is, even though I do have an experience of the last 3 years, this is going to be my first time introducing the world, other than social media, to Drug-Free All-Stars. I've already been collecting literature. I'm hoarding kinds of stuff to get ready. And we got months to go, and I've got crates already. I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to stop. I will never stop doing this, and I'm not. I feel that at least when my generation is gone, the outline has been opened up for the next generation. Maybe for my son and my daughter, who's 15 and 20 years old. That's why I'm doing this, is because our generation, we need help. We're sinking here. And, another thing that bothers me is that I talked to an officer the other night, and I actually posted the video. I don't know if you've seen it. And some of these counties are just the way they think about stuff. So he got up in a room full of people, and he says, we need to just focus on the young ones, which I agree. I totally agree. But then you got to remember, I'm 37 years old. And this man stood up and said, pretty much the older ones are a loss. They just don't recover. So here they have me speak after him. That was a wonderful, bright idea of them. So I stood up and I grabbed the microphone. He's getting ready to walk out. I said, Officer Glover, before you walk out, I said, let me formally introduce myself. My name is Stacy Burns. I'm 37 years old, and I am a recovering heroin addict. And I looked across the room, and I thought, this man just told a room full of people, if your family member is 18 years or older just to give
Forget
up.
it.
So,
yeah.
Right. So they've already checked out thinking, should we go home and cut the grass? And I stopped the crowd and I said, don't ever think in your life that anybody is too old to be saved. I said, as long as they have a heartbeat and a pulse and they're breathing, there's a chance.
Stacy,
so
I'm going to stop you because we're getting ready to go to break.
Okay.
Would you like to either, I don't know if you want to stay on the phone or call back at about 10:15?
It's up to you. Whatever's easier. I can call back. That's fine. I got the number right here.
Yep, call back at 10:15.
All right. Love you guys.
Love
See you
you.
in 10, 15 minutes. All right. Bye.
Suffered for years, but I'm done with the pain, but it still remains. Looking for change. The devil is real. I met him before. He gave me a deal, sold him my soul. All my good in life he steals. Now my heart is like icy spring, finding negativity in everything. Grab me a violin, crying over my sins, but it was my own choices. Drowning, but I can swim. Feel my shame crawling in my skin. Can't do it alone, can't fix it on my own. I'm the trapper Josie, yo. Helps me call away, but I won't pick up the phone. I'm one decision from being skeletons and bones. Grace can tone, popping methadone. I feel like I'm nobody, but I'm really well known. Gotta remind myself, I can't do this on my own. Asphyxiating, pain inside is devastating, isolating, not relating, gasping for air, but I can't breathe. Deceived by my demons, my past won't leave. Given the keys to success, but I forgot the keys. I'm sick of praying on my knees. Broken home, every night I pray my mom comes home. I'm a child within, but they tell me I'm grown. Left with this broken soul, I can spit my feelings on this microphone. When you relate, you don't need to feel alone. They say my sins have paid my way to hell. For many years I was stuck on the carousel. I used to want to end it, say farewell, but I wasn't ready for eternity in hell. Release my soul, I've done my time, paid my toll. I just want to change and grow old. I can't do this on my own.
Trying to recover, man.
This is RecoveryRadio.fm on WVDR, Lentana, West Palm Beach, Lake Worth, Boca Raton, Delray, and all of the Palm Beaches. Always raw, always real.
Welcome back to Shattering the Stigma. This is Mama Dukes. I have James Matthews.
What's up, guys?
And Silverback with me.
Hey, hey.
We'd love to have you call in 954-524-8000 if you have any questions. You can find us also 96.1 FM, Pompano to West Palm, 97.5 FM from West Palm to Jupiter, 1340 AM throughout Palm Beach County, and live on Facebook at recoveryradio.fm and on the net, recoveryradio.fm. Give us some hearts, show us some love, let us know if you like the show.
Hell yeah.
So we're expecting a couple call-ins. So while we're waiting for those call-ins to happen, we've got something going on this Saturday, an event we'd love to invite you all out to. Go ahead, James.
Jen and Nicole.
Jen and Nicole.
Yep.
Hell yeah. I love them guys, man. I love all three of them.
So she's doing her release of her EP.
Propaganda.
Propaganda in Lake Worth.
Come check us out.
Come on out. We'll be out there. We'll have merchandise. Good music, good message, good sober fun.
Oh yeah. That's gonna be a huge party.
Huge.
Yeah.
So I know that another thing that we've got going on is we're getting ready, and I'm looking for some vendors. If anyone is a vendor, we're looking for vendors. We'll post on our page, F blank blank K. You can fill in the rest. Heroin Foundation on Facebook. We've got a tour coming up.
Me too.
It is Overdose Awareness Tour. We're going to be hitting 8 or 9 states, 15 shows. If you're in any of those areas and you'd like to be a vendor, we'd love to have you reach out. So,
Literally coast to coast.
coast to
Coast
coast.
to coast.
One side is
Zigging
left
and
to right,
zagging.
right to left.
Well, I'll be here with you guys through most of it, but my team will be out on the road.
Oh yeah.
So, Steve, why don't you talk a little bit about After Dark and what that's about?
After Dark is a live stream that I do from 12 midnight to 3 in the morning, and it is for the insomniacs, the anybody who wants to stop by. Literally anybody who wants to stop by. We've got a core of diehards that stick it out for the entire 3 hours, and we each night we reach anywhere between 5,000 and 7,000 people. We have 1,500 to 2,000 views, and it is a place for people who can't sleep.
Who can't sleep.
Can't sleep.
Need somebody to talk to,
exactly.
feeling down, maybe have some inspirations.
That is exactly it. It's a place where people can go and meet up. And there's that degree of separation with the computer in front of you. You're not in front of anybody, but you can really open up. You can really open up, get stuff off your chest, and
It's like an After Dark family there, man.
Oh, it
People,
is.
they wait on that. He's 2 minutes late. They're bringing his phone.
yeah, no, I got a bunch of beautiful people, and as long as people are getting something out of it, that's what matters to me.
We have a caller on the phone.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Is this you, Frank?
Yeah, this me.
Hey,
Hey.
how are you doing?
All right, how you doing?
I'm good.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This is Frank Morgan on the phone. Some of you may have heard his music, and
What's up, Frank?
we'll be
What's up, man? How you doing?
we'll be playing some of his music. He's getting some things over to me that we'll be playing. If you've not heard Rem 1, oh my goodness, what a message he has in some of these songs. We love it. So
Thank you very much.
tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got where you're at with the music, and why you do what you do.
Okay, well, music has just always moved me. I can remember being as young as maybe 5 or 6 years old, listening to music. It may not have been what I choose, but I would listen to my mother's Rod Stewart records forever. It didn't matter. Music was music, and I never followed through with anything because I started with my addiction at a very young age. Probably 8 years old, I started drinking with my uncle. Not heavily, but, every chance I could get, he'd slip me a beer. And I can remember from the first time, and that's all I could think about, Thanksgiving and Christmas with the family, how much beer I was going to get to drink. And so at a young age, at maybe 12, I was sneaking out to go hang out with my uncle and drink beer and didn't care about the consequences. I knew I was going to be punished for it, but it didn't matter. And it just continued on from there. At 14, I was doing other drugs, just smoking weed and drinking and stuff. And then I went to my first rave when I was maybe 15 or 16 and tried ecstasy. And from that point on, hard drugs were like a no-no, looked down upon, I'll never do that. But ecstasy just made hard drugs okay. And within 6 months, I had tried every drug there was. So, eventually turned to heroin, and wasn't long after that. The clubs weren't important anymore. I was a b-boy. I used to break dance. That wasn't important anymore. And I spent the next, it was about 18 years in active addiction if you count all my drinking on a daily basis and stuff. So I went for a long time. Let's see, around 2012, I ran for Maryland because I had 5 or 6 warrants here, and went to Delaware, and that's where I met Joe Nestor, and we were homeless together and doing, hanging out every day, doing what we had to do to get high. And I wasn't with my family anymore, and I have 2 children and a wife that's been with me for 17 years now. And for the first time, I wasn't with them, and I was so far gone that it didn't even bother me. And I would rarely even think about it. It was just the next one, the next one, the next one. That's all I could think about. And when I finally got caught in Delaware, I had 5 or 6 warrants there. So it was crazy when I finally went to jail. Obviously, I didn't get out. And I did some time in prison, but that's where I was introduced to the rooms and the program. And it changed my life. I remember the first time I was offered drugs in prison. I took it in my hand, and I took it back to my cell, and it was count time, and I didn't do it. And it gave me enough time to get through that count time to think about what I was getting ready to do. And after count, I went and gave it back. And at first, it was just to prove to myself that I could, that I wasn't a bad guy as much as everybody thought I was, or I could do it. It wasn't driven by the right reasons, but I just wanted to see if I could do it. But once I said no once, I figured, why can't I keep doing it? And then I moved from county jail and went to prison where they had the meetings. And it changed my life, man. I was freer in prison, and I had been on the street since I was a very small child. And, so while I was there, I started working on writing my music. And when I came out, I had no idea where Joe was, what music he was doing. I didn't, if he was clean, anything. And I happened to make a video, just me in my car or in a car, because I don't have a car, but me in a car one day, and I posted it on Facebook, and Stan Corab from Recovering Artists Worldwide messaged me and said, "Hey, we like your song. Check out our page." And when I clicked on it, the first person I saw was Joe Nestor, and it was so weird how that happened.
Which one did you hear first?
Which
song?
I think the first one I saw was "Never Gonna Take My Soul."
Yeah.
Which, listen, I was with Joe driving around from Delaware to Chester into Philly, all the way back to Baltimore and back to Delaware every day boosting, and he'd have a guitar, and he used to sing that song when we were homeless on the streets. And just to hear that song and to see it in his eye in that video when he's just in the hallway, how much it had really changed, that gave me so much encouragement, because I was fresh out of prison. I had it, I didn't want to go back, but I really didn't have a plan. I hadn't continued it or hit any meetings yet. So, I started going to meetings and started making my own music, and the messages I get from people they're so touching, and they help me more than they help them. It really is. I don't market my music, or do anything. I just put it out in hopes that it can help somebody. And from the messages that I'm receiving, it has, and that's a great feeling. It really is.
That, anyone that knows me knows music. I love music. And if I'm having a bad moment, anything, people know I just get in my car and I drive and I listen to music. And music can change your whole mood. It can change anything that's going on. And then, you know, I'm not an addict, but I can so relate to the music because I lived it with my son for so long, and I've worked in this field for so long. And, you know, I just can't imagine if it helps me, how it really helps an addict.
Yeah, thank you.
I know you really like his music, James.
Yeah, I do. I give you mad respect. Right?
Thanks,
you know
man.
I mean?
Yeah, I got to meet James at Recovery Fest, which was the first show that I ever performed at on stage, and it actually when I recorded all the music that I've released. It's a blessing, man, to be able to come home. I'm only been out of prison 10 months, and the things that are happening in my life are happening so much quicker than I ever thought they would when I was in active addiction. You know, I didn't try because I thought I was too far gone. And, you know, but it's funny, I have to jump around subjects. I'm still a little scatterbrained, especially.
So am I, bro.
We both are.
But, you know, see, I forgot already. Anyway, today I was wearing one of your shirts, the FHF shirt with the matching hat, and I was at parole checking in today, and two newly released guys were like, "Man, I like your hat and your shirt. What's that? What does that mean?" And I was like, "Man, that's a movement, you know." And so we started talking, and I was explaining what you guys do and what I do, and the movement that really is starting now with recovery, how it's being put in the spotlight as much as possible.
Absolutely.
And they both got my number, and one of them actually called me tonight, and we sat and talked for like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, but it just felt really good. Having that shirt on, being out there, you know, made them ask what it was, and we got to talk. Otherwise, we may sat there and not said anything to each other.
I saw the picture you posted. You looked great.
Thank you. Yeah, and, you know, so I don't know. I like to give back in any way I can, and I wish I had more time for actual personal person outreach, but I work insane out. I'm still living in my parents' house with my family. You know, I'm still, after parole, I went to motor vehicles. I was going to straighten my license out. I thought I owed $3,000 this whole time to get my license back. It's a perfect example of when things are put in your place when they're supposed to be there. I could have had my whole license this whole time for $50.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, but who knows if I would have had my license as soon as I came home where I would be, you know, because a car has always been a downfall for me in the past. So
you got it as soon as you needed it, as soon as you should have it.
You know,
absolutely.
Frank, have you ever watched or read The Secret?
Yes, I have. I watched that in rehab, and we had to make and actually it was a prison behind the walls program, but yeah, they brought it in and showed it to us, and we had to make up our secret board and, you know, cut things out of magazines and put it on there. Yeah.
Whenever I'm having a really bad time, I watch that. It always puts things into perspective. If the audience out there has never seen it, it's about the laws of attraction, and it's pretty amazing. And the reason I brought that up is when you were talking about you know, how good things keep coming, and how in this it shows you how when things are going good and there's good energy and good attraction, it feels like your world is going 100 miles an hour, you know, because we as people, our brain has that little delay that keeps saying, what if, and, you know, what's going on, and we just plan for the worst. And when things are going right, it snowballs and just keeps happening and happening and happening. And it sounds like, man, you're on your way to some really good things, and it's not going to quit, Frank.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited and so grateful. Like, I'll be starting Remedy One flooring, because I do flooring, probably within the next 2 months. Like, everything's in order. I finally got a bank account. It's I just want people to know, like, because, you know, addicts, when you're first coming into recovery, you just you focus on the wrong things, and you plan. You try to plan. I tell people this, and it's a true story. I wrote my 1 year clean speech with 60 days clean time. I did. I sat there, and today I wouldn't say one thing that I put on there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But at that moment, I'm sure it helped a lot when you did it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I've never. The first book I ever read was the Blue Book, and I read that thing from front to back as quick as I could because it was like if someone wrote it about me. You know, it helps me, and this is what music does for me too. It helps me realize how I'm feeling. I'm not good at understanding my emotions or how I'm feeling unless when I do music, it comes out. But to talk or to explain it, it's hard for me. And that's what that book did for me too. It was such an eye-opener of like, that's how I've felt for so long.
You know, the show's called Shattering the Stigma. What are some of the stigmas that you've felt along the way?
I guess just from in my area in Baltimore, heroin has always been really bad. So, you know, you have the basic just, you know, when you see the people on the street getting high that they're never going to change or they're no good or they're getting ready to rob you, which probably most of the time is true. But, yeah, at least for me it was anyway. You know, now what I deal with is just the doubt. You know, people don't see it or don't believe it, but I don't focus on it, you know. That's, I don't really have a better example. To tell you the truth, in my addiction, I was so selfish with myself and wrapped up in my addiction, and that I don't really have any memories. I really don't. It was like it's like I was on autopilot for 18 years.
So how can people get your music?
Right now, it's only a Facebook fan page. It's in all caps. It's REM1, REMONE, at REM1 Official, at Remedy 1 Official. Yeah. And, yeah, so everything I put out, I have a couple songs that I haven't released that I'm getting ready to. I was trying to find the time to record actual videos for them, but I don't think I'm going to, so, but I'm going to post them anyway.
I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. We're looking forward to playing your music, and we love you, man.
Keep doing what you're doing, friend.
Love you too. All right, James, man, it's a pleasure meeting you down there, man.
I'll see you soon, bro.
All right, man. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, bro.
Frank Moore. There's a lot of people showing Frank a lot of love in the comments.
Yeah. You need to take a look, Frank, at the comments on the show. You can find them on recoveryradio.fm on Facebook. And I think you're going to be amazed to see the love you got out there.
Especially from this woman, seems to be quite a big fan of yours, named Linda Morgan.
Linda Morgan loves you,
Claims
Frank.
to be your mother. She's very proud of you.
So we have Stacy back with us, so we can finish up real quick our conversation. You there?
Hi.
Hey, lady.
Hi.
Did you do some brainstorming while we were gone?
You know it. Yeah, it was funny you just said that. After I hung up, I thought, here's where I'm at. Society as a whole needs to do something. We were talking about, I see a lot of people's posts out there about, shoot your local heroin dealer. And you kind of touched on it, too. But I have come to the conclusion that I'm done chasing the dope dealers, and that's why I do what I do, is helping the addicts. Because at the end of the day, we all know the drugs are coming in. We all know where they're coming from. We all know why it's not stopping. So at this point for me, I just need to keep doing what I'm doing. And the whole point of why I work where I work is because I get the girls that come from jail, and I get the girls that don't have Blue Cross, don't have Aetna, don't have this high-end insurance, and they're at the trenches of addiction, and I love doing this. But what bothers me is how people think that they're immune to it. I'm going to touch real quick on October 4th of 2016. Many of you know I lost my cousin. And I started Team Aggrusso. And you go out there in the world, and it reminded me of the parents when they say, that phone call's coming, but when it does come, it takes your breath away, when you lose somebody. And I'll never forget, I drove from Pontiac to Hazel Park going about 100 miles per hour. And, Leisha, you know that I have Narcan. We all have Narcan. We're all trainers, and we're all certified, blah, blah, blah. And when I got there, he was already gone. He was on the sidewalk, covered in a sheet. The paramedics was there and everything. And it took my breath away to actually be out here and be an advocate and tell people, you're not immune to the disease of addiction, and do this and do that, and then it happens in your family. That is one of the worst experiences I think anybody can ever go through, is to lose somebody that you love to this disease. And what I'm going to tell people is, instead of, I know you're going to hurt, and I know you're going to grieve, but the only way we're going to change this is that if we keep using this as fuel to fight. The only people that are going to change what's going on is people like you, people like me, people that are sitting in that radio station right now, people that are listening. We are the only ones that are going to be able to fix this. I don't think people understand, like, it's great that we're all advocating, it's great that we're signing petition and everything, but at the end of the day, it's us. It's us that are going to save our own community. You have to freaking do something. Like, you can't just sit in a chair. Like, get up and do something. Whether it's, community outreach or putting something on social media or doing a radio show or a video, everybody has to take their part in this, because if you aren't an addict, what do they say? You know one, right?
I want to hit on something, and I'd like all of you to put your input in. A county, and I don't know if you've seen this, Stacy. I know I've posted it. A county near my hometown, Erie County, which is your Sandusky, Ohio area. They've got a petition going out around right now for that if someone is called to an overdose, that they need to be arrested.
Yes, I think it's absolutely disgusting.
I think,
Why? Because
what is that going to do?
Money? Is it because it all boils down to this, because it costs money? Oh, well, the paramedics has got to go there, and EMS, and us taxpayers. And let me be clear to people, and let me be crystal clear to people. This is how this works. You want to talk about tax dollars? You lock a person up. It costs more money to put them in jail, to put them in prison, to continuously put them back in prison, back in jail. $5,000 is the last number that I remember it would cost to treat and help an addict. By arresting them over and over and over, yes, there's money with the lawyers and court fees and blah, 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 but the end result is we're not going to have money for all that stuff anyway. So we're just going to be sitting in jail, sucking up more tax dollar money. So if you want to go as a money tip situation, it would be cheaper for society to put us into a treatment center. It's common sense. So since the wonderful taxpayers who want to start this stupid petition I could just puke all over, are you kidding me right now? That's what the numbers come down to. It's cheaper to put us in treatment centers.
It's $250 a day to house an inmate. $250 a day.
Right.
Imagine what they could do with that same amount of money, putting someone in treatment and getting them help.
Yeah, you put them in a treatment center where you have to go to, I don't know what Florida and Ohio's linking places are called, but out here it's called PACE Access, blah, 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 where you call the number and they say, okay, come get assessed, whatever. Do you know that most majority of those places, it's $97 a day to have someone in treatment, getting the treatment that they need? That's still less than $150 a day, and they're going to have more success rate of walking out of a treatment center than walking out of a jail. I don't know about you guys, but I went to jail over and over and over and over and over. I learned nothing. I got more connections on how to get more drugs.
Stacy, we're getting ready to go to break. We loved having you. I'd love to have you come back. I want you to share how the peer support is going with the police stations and that. So
I absolutely will.
We will definitely have you come back. Thank you so
Stacey,
much.
I got you on Facebook.
All right, love
Hit
you
me
guys.
up if you need
You sound
me.
great.
Love you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I was just a kid, I was way too young. The crazy things I did could never be undone. It was way too late, and I was too ashamed. They'll never look at me the same, so I had to run away to a place downtown. And nothing could prepare some
worst was yet to come. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, begging for change just to get by. Chasing the wind, chasing the high, too blind to see I was chasing a lie. Losing myself, saying goodbye, leaving my friends and family behind. Too weak to stop, too tough to cry. I dropped to my knees, put my hands in the sky, screaming, help me, help me. I was running from myself. Help me, help me, save me from myself. Summer's come and gone, but these winter nights are cold, and I'm still on the run, and I can't feel my toes. Let me go, and it's no longer fun. It's time to go. I think that I am done. I think that I'll go home. Just let me go. How dark it is before the dawn. Finding the light, turning it on. Finding the strength to carry on, finding a place where I finally belong. I am over the pain and done with regret, making a change and moving ahead, pushing myself, never look back. Everything's strange, but I'm trying my best. So help me, help me. I've been running from myself. Help me, help me, save me from myself. Help me, help me, help me, save me from myself. So help me, help me, help me, running from myself. So help me, help me, save me from myself. So help me, help me, save me from myself.
Technology is making the things around us smarter than ever before. It's making our day-to-day easier. And now, what powers those things is Smart 2. With the smart technology behind FPL's online energy dashboard, you can keep track of your energy use. And when you take the free online home energy survey, you'll see where you're using the most energy and find smart, new ways to save up to $250 a year. Visit fpl.com/easy to save and learn how to make your bill even lower.
New Life Clothing is the world's largest sober clothing line. With creative designs, New Life speaks to those living a positive lifestyle and people who want to do good in the world. Be inspired, be free, and always be yourself. Check it out at newlifeclothing.com. Remember, that's new, L-Y-F-E, clothing.com. Get 10% off your first order with the code word New Life Radio. That's N-E-W-L-Y-F-E Radio. Recovering Artists Worldwide is the world's largest recovery record label. Our goal is to give addicts a voice. We help recovering musicians develop a professional music career they never thought was possible. We travel the country fighting the heroin epidemic through music. Determined to spread a positive message, we travel the country, city to city, state to state, hoping that just one addict hears our message. For booking, contact us on Facebook at Recovering Artists Worldwide.
Hey guys, James Sweezy here, real quick. If you're experiencing daily fatigue or having trouble sleeping, I found a product that was designed to help improve symptoms associated with post-acute withdrawal syndrome. TheLiquidRecovery.com provides supplements designed by people in recovery for people in recovery. The AM formula helps to improve energy and supports natural relief from brain fog. The PM formula helps support natural sleep so you can fall asleep and stay asleep, and it helps reduce feelings of anxiety or irritability. The folks at TheLiquidRecovery.com want to be clear that this product will not get you clean and sober. It's simply another tool for your toolbox to help combat fatigue and sleeplessness. Order now at www.theliquidrecovery.com and be sure to enter the discount code RADIO for free shipping. That's www.theliquidrecovery.com. James Sweezy, I'm out.
You're listening to RecoveryRadio.fm on WPBR, broadcasting live from beautiful Palm Beach County, the recovery capital of the world. Always raw, always real.
Welcome back to Recovery Radio FM, Shattering the Stigma. This is Mama Dukes from F Heroin Foundation. I've got my crew with me, James Matthews.
What's up, guys?
And Silverback.
Yeah.
So we've had quite a few visitors on here today, but I want to get back to James's story. So let's pick up where we left off, James, when you came back.
Pick it up. What do you want to hear? When I came back.
When I saw that light bulb go off.
I'm shot out, but I'm not that shot out. I was talking about being in treatment again. And it's probably about the 9th time I'd been in the treatment. But something was different for me on the inside. And I knew something had to change. And, the treatment center I went to, they had a couple of different tracks. They had a faith-based track. They had, whatever other tracks I really don't remember. And for some reason, I kind of shifted towards the faith-based track. And, I stayed put in groups, and I listened, and I kept my mouth shut for once in my life. And I started to come out of my shell a little bit. Probably about the 2nd or 3rd week. I felt a little bit more nourished. I didn't look so emaciated. I could walk with my head up a little bit. And,
started getting some coloring back, too.
Started getting some color. You know what? I wish I had the before and after picture for when I went into treatment. I went on a 3-week bender, but you'd have thought I just came off a 5-year run. My neck was I'm already a thin guy, and go ahead and let me stop eating meals for like a week or two, and it's pretty bad, but my weight's up a little bit, man, and I had actually reached out. I thought I had like 2 people left in my corner, and that's my older sister and my father. They've always been there for me, and I finally reached out to them, and I got honest. Yo, this is funny. When I moved, dude, this is great. I actually, this actually just came to my brain. Listen to this, right? I actually told my dad and my sister when I was coming back down Florida that I was going to work at a treatment center.
When you were coming back to treatment?
Yeah, I didn't tell them I gave up my sobriety. I told them I was going to work in a treatment center. And the thing is, my dad knew I was high. And he didn't call me out on it. He was just going along with it. He's like, all right, this guy's going to sit here and lie to me? All right. And they wanted to come see me in York before I went back down Florida. They didn't know when they were going to see me again. And I was high when they came to see me. And I looked pretty bad. And you know, they still didn't call me out on that. You know, and like I called. Took me a little bit, but I called from treatment and I said, hey, Dad. He's like, yes. I said, I have something to tell you. I said, I didn't come down to Florida, back down to Florida to work in a treatment center. I said, I gave up my sobriety. He said, I know. He said, I knew being on the phone with you a couple of times that you were on something. You know what I mean? But, you know, that was huge for me. Like, it started off with honesty with me.
Right.
You know, I would love, even my supports down here, I would have loved for them to think that I still had my sobriety that I went home with and came back down and just wanted to live in the Florida sun.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I was going to tell them. Yeah, you know, I didn't want to be up there anymore.
Cold up there.
That's what my brain told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
My heart told me to get honest with people for once in my life. You know what I mean?
We think we're slick.
Oh.
And so, some of us are. We do what we have to do to get what we.
You know what my nickname is by my dad? I haven't heard my first name in like 20 years. Slick.
Word.
I'm dead serious.
Damn.
I'm wondering if my older sister's watching right now because she knows. You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't call me James. He doesn't call me anything. He calls me Slick.
Slick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
But it was an experience for me, and I like to bring up another thing about being honest. For a long time, I didn't talk about my 4-year-old daughter. And when I did my bio in treatment, my therapist, who I'm supposed to be getting, you know, gut-wrenching honest with, asked me if I have any kids. And I said, yeah, I said, I have one daughter. You know, I went back to my bed that night when it was time to go to sleep. And, you know, that weighed heavy on my heart. And it was spinning in my brain. And that next morning before I went to any group, I remember getting out of the van to go into clinical, and I went up and I found my therapist. And I said, hey, I remember tapping on her door, and I said, I need to talk to you. She said, go ahead, sit down. She said, what's going on? I said, remember when I said I only had one daughter? I said, I have two. I said, I want to start working on that. You know, like that's where it starts with me. It was like being honest, like calling my supports down here, calling my sponsor, that the same man that I didn't call before I booked that flight on my lunch break. You best believe he was the first guy I called when I wanted to come back down. And like, it was about being honest, man. Hey, I gave up my sobriety and like, I need help. You know how hard it is to say that to somebody? You know what I mean? I need help. You know? The shame and guilt will kill people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Shame and guilt. You know, but like, I worked on those things, man. When I was in treatment, I worked on grief and loss. I worked on PTSD. There was an incident that took place in my life. There was a man that was murdered right in front of me. And I remember this man laying down on the ground, and he was looking up at me, and he had that death girl going on, and he was looking at me, and it's almost like he was asking me for help. Right. And for like a long time, like, even still now, in my sobriety, like I just can't escape that image.
About that. Yeah.
You know, now I was supposed to work on that, and I was set up for an EMDR session, and I never got that session. But like, through my sobriety and my recovery, I'm working on them things, man. Like, I get a daily reprieve from that. You know what I mean? Like, it comes to mind every now and again. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The grief and loss was huge for me. Being honest in treatment was huge for me. You know what I mean? I'm talking about in every freaking area, man. You understand what I'm saying? Making my bed in treatment. Like, that's huge. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if I'm lacking in those areas, when I leave, that's all relapse mode for me. You know what I mean? They're very teeny tiny things, man, but them things snowball for a guy like me. You know?
What can you share with people that are afraid right now, that want help, and they're just afraid to ask, or they're scared of detox, or scared of their family knowing?
Absolutely. I mean, you know how many people hit us up and have those questions, and I deal with it every day. And you know, people are scared. People don't feel like they have any options. I don't have insurance. I don't have Medicaid. I don't have Medicare. You know, you have people that are on maintenance programs that want to detox from these things. And like, when I speak, the only thing I can do is give my experience. You understand what I'm saying? it's my experience. I don't like to give advice. I don't like to give my opinions because those words will hurt people. Detox for me, I found heroin when I was 15 years old. 15 years old, DOA by 17, right? I'll be 39 in April. Yes, I'm an old head, right? So let's take my heroin use, right? And then that 5 years that I was in York, PA, where I was supposed to be recovering, I was on methadone for 5 years, right? So let's take a 20-year heroin addiction and blend that in with methadone and all the other junk I'm putting in my body, right? For me, when I went into detox, I did their 1 week taper, right? A strip or two a day, and then they just break it down to like a little quarter by your last day. A little 7-day taper. And, you know, of course, I was med seeking after that taper, you know, like I don't feel good. Well, who doesn't feel good after shooting dope for 20 years? Or, you know, like the real alcoholic that just got done saturating their organs with alcohol for 20, 15 years, right? Yeah, I felt shitty. I felt crappy. I definitely did. But what I know is that, for the first time in my life, in a long time, and this is just for me, it's just my experience, is I got down on my knees, and at the time I really wasn't sure who I was praying to or who I was talking to, but I just said I needed help. You know, not only did I ask for help from my supports down here, but man, like I was looking for a higher power, you know, to get me through that sickness and that withdrawal. You know, and like hydrating myself was huge for me. I was really malnourished. Drinking a lot of water, making sure I was had my electrolytes up in me, lots of fruits. Like my stomach probably shrunk so small that even like a ramen noodle was going to fill me up. You know what I mean? Detox is scary.
But worth it.
It is worth it.
You know what I used to say to Frankie is, you had, 15 years of being able to disappear from problems, anything that you didn't want to deal with. 15 years. So if you've got to go through pain for a few days of that 15 years that you used and disappeared, maybe that's something to think about as you're going through it.
I've detoxed in prison where they don't give you anything.
Yeah.
And every single time I'd be like, I after about 30 days, I'd start sleeping a little bit or whatever, and I'd be like, you know what, I'm never, ever, ever, ever doing that to myself again.
I want to, we're getting ready to wrap up here quickly, but there's something that I really want to bring up and talk about. James, I've known you since you got down here. Love you like a brother, like a son, like a team partner, whatever else. And I've had the honor of watching you come down here with, not that you didn't have a family, but
I didn't have a family.
But you didn't have a family.
Didn't have a family.
And watch that all turn around. One of the important things that happened was, it involves your brother. I'd like you to hit on that a little bit and how you were able to go home and what you were able to do with your family.
I just got the chills on that one because that is a huge part of my early recovery. On June 25th, I received a call. My little brother's a police officer at the time. He was a rookie officer, and he had just taken 7 bullets. And we were getting ready to go out on the road. And I believe you were in a meeting.
I was.
And I went and I got you. And, I'm thinking someone just ate 7 bullets. It's my little brother. I'm thinking the worst, right? Yeah. And, I booked the first flight smoking out of Florida to Philadelphia. And I didn't get to see him that night, but the hospital was also on lockdown, and I'm sure you can imagine when a police officer shot what that hospital looks like, But that next morning, I got up bright and early, and like I hadn't seen my family in years, literally years. My mom, my stepdad, Two younger sisters, you know, haven't really been in my life. Listen, I haven't, none of my family members, I know every one of them is going to be there, right? I haven't seen them in years, 10, 20 years, some of them, right? I'm going through West Philadelphia to go to Presbyterian Hospital, and July 1st, I picked up my 1 year, so I didn't even have my 1 year yet, you know. And I remember going through the streets of West Philly and going by some of the old dope holes and, you know, some areas where I got high at on the way to this hospital. And, like, my mind told me that, yo, man, like, you're going to need to be high for this. You know, like, that's the only way you're going to be able to deal with this situation right here, you know. Plus your family, you know. Go get high. And I made it to that hospital. And
you didn't get high.
I did not get high. And when you want to know something, though, like, even though it had been years since I've seen my mom and stuff, you know, that's the first thing she looked at was my pupils.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and for once they were white and they weren't pin dots, you know, and my weight was up a little bit. And you know what? I did not make it about me, though, at that, that whole time I was home. I didn't make amends to people. I didn't say, hey, this is how this is how much sobriety I had. I didn't talk about any of that stuff.
They could see it, though.
I went home to make sure my little brother was okay for 4 days, right? Tried getting my sister some help. You know, I reached out to her, and I came right back home. I didn't see none of the old people. You know, it wasn't about look at me, look at me, look at me.
Let's make sure they know his brother lived through those 7 bullets.
Yes, he did.
That's not a miracle.
This was national news.
National?
Yeah.
He had state troopers reaching out to him from Alaska.
Wait a minute. I'm not big on country music. Who was the guy?
Kenny Chesney. But the thing is, when Kenny Chesney announced it on stage, he announced it as my little brother passed away and actually had to call my little brother and apologize for that. You know, but he announced it on stage, and actually everyone that was watching this, because we all knew it was going to happen, they were like, wait, I thought he was alive. So next thing you know, everyone's calling the hospital thinking that, like,
what happened?
Oh, man.
Yeah. But, you know, Kenny Chesney did call and make an amends on that.
You know, anybody that we've helped, I kind of make, you don't know, their family. The moment they talk to me on the phone, they call in for help. Whether I meet them or not, they're instantly in my heart. And I can say, James, you know, before you came, you and I talked on the phone pretty much every day.
Checked on my
sick
self.
I am just so proud of you, and I'm so happy to have watched you grown and be able to get back with your family. And you're doing so many incredible things, and you've got your own following on our page. And,
can we tell them that real quick, though?
Yeah.
Can I wrap up with a gift?
Yeah.
We just talked about how I didn't have family, right? When I did come back down here after giving up that sobriety, even, you know, my oldest daughter and her mom, they really just asked me to, like, stay out of their life. You know, like, you've done enough damage. We're better off without you. Actually, that's what her words were. We're better off without you, dude. February 1st, I'll have 19 months, by the grace of God. And in this time, see, I didn't have family, and I really thought that my daughter and her mom were out of my life. My youngest daughter, she hasn't been in my life, right? So I wasn't really missing anything there, per se. I love her and I miss her, but there was never really a bond there, right? But all these things are gone in my life when I came back down here. And I remember at 60 Days Clean and Sober, my sponsor, I was really, really down and out. And I said, dude, I don't have anybody. You know, I said, I'm in this halfway house. I said, I'm surrounded by a bunch of kids. And I said, I don't even have any clothes, man, let alone family members. You know, and he said, James, do me a favor. Let all that go and continue to work on yourself. And he said, I promise you it's going to get better. Now, he didn't say certain things were going to happen in my life. He just promised me it would get better. He was probably saying, like, you'll feel better in a little bit, because he's probably like, yo, man, you're old and you're never going to get that stuff back. You know, you burnt those bridges, right? But he didn't want to be so mean about it. He just said it'll get better, right? Well, it has gotten better. Past couple months, started off with my little sister. She reached out for help, and she came down here and had her own South Florida experience, and it was a decent experience, I'm going to say, because we all have to go through some things to get where we're going. And she actually just picked up 5 months yesterday. I was just going to say,
she just got 5
months.
Well,
you know?
Shout out to you, Amanda.
Amanda, I love you, and I hope you're watching. You probably are. My older sister, my middle sister, who's older than my younger sister by a few years. We're all separated just by a few years. She came down here, went home, and she's going through some things in her recovery, like we all do. You know, I'll be 39. I got 19 months, and I made my first meeting when I was 17. So, like, what does that tell you, right? Never give up hope, and I haven't.
You were on the slow track.
The very, very slow track. I also I had my stepfather down here.
Great guy. Hi, George.
Hey, George. You're probably in bed because you're old. He goes to bed like after Jeopardy.
God bless you.
No, but he stayed with us, you know. And here's a man that asked me to leave the house when I was 17 when I came home from boot camp, and I didn't like him at all, you know. My mother's been down here. I hadn't seen my mom.
Mama.
She helped me serve Thanksgiving dinner on Thanksgiving to the less fortunate, side by side. And when I took a picture with my mom, I hadn't taken a picture of her since I was a little kid.
And your daughter came down.
Well, that was the meat and potatoes here.
Yeah.
my daughter definitely came down, and this poor little girl, 17 years old. That means that she's lived 17 years of my active addiction, in and out, in and out, in and out, and not just in and out of prison or rehab or psych wards, in and out of her life. You know, and she actually came to an event with us and wore a shirt with me and stood by my side and helped out at that event, you know, and that was huge for me. It was, I look at that picture, it's my profile picture. I don't think I'll ever change that profile picture. But she never gave up on me. And like her mom told me, she said, James, even at our angriest times and moments, she's always been your number one supporter.
Yeah.
You know? There was times when she might have been angry with me or she felt like she hated me, but that's because it was too much to love me. Understand what I'm saying? I mean, all she wanted was...
Yeah.
No, and that's a blessing in my life, man. My biggest blessing is my sobriety date, which is July 1st, 2015. And without that, none of this is possible, and that's a fact.
So,
a fact.
We're getting ready to wrap up here. Like to invite you again to the propaganda on Saturday. Jen and Nicole's release party. We'll be there.
Yes.
Recovering artists will be there. Be a great show, great message, positive. If you're looking for some sober fun, that's where to be. Saturday night.
It's
Next week, we've got Mike Stankiewicz joining us, along with Antonio Lopez, known as Tilo.
Tilo.
And we hope to see you back next week. So how'd you feel about doing the show, James?
I appreciate you asking me to come. You know,
Will you appreciate
because
me
my
asking
hope,
you to come back again?
Like when I pray, right? And I just need to say this: when I pray, right? And listen, I'm not a Bible thumper. It's not. Listen, this is for me, right? When I pray, I always ask for God to place at least one person in my life throughout the day, right? And my hope is that at least one alcoholic or addict in a 24 hours time will reach out for help. I've been doing that same prayer now for almost 19 months. You know what I mean?
And they've been reaching out.
It's not like I love the people on the page and stuff like that, but that's that person that hits up the inbox and it's like, yo, man, like my life sucks right now, and like I heard your video, or I like your whatever it is. I've had moms hit me up that lost their sons and like, yo, I wish my son would have heard your message. That's why I do that. It doesn't necessarily the addict. It's how about the parent that lost the addict to the disease? You know what I mean? Like we can't leave them out of this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely not.
Thank you for having me out, Alicia. I love you to death.
Love you to death,
I love
man.
You. Are you still doing midnight? The midnight at there?
Hell yeah. We haven't missed a midnight since December 27th. December 27th.
Steve's part vampire, for those of you that don't know. We're wrapping up tonight. Hope you'll join us next week. Nobody told you today. They love you. We
love you.
From the bottom to the top, I've been through hell and back. Been through the lake of fire, ain't even break a sweat. I'm in the shadows, walking in the devil's silhouette. That's just how it is when you live in the dark times. Contemplating as I stand upon the edge of death. Should I change or should I go until there's nothing left? It's all I know, so I'ma go until the bitter end. That's just how it is when you live in the dark times. I'm locked and loaded, rocking and rolling. I've been running in these streets so long my feet are swollen. But I don't care as long as I can keep that money flowing. That's just how it is when you live in the dark times. I don't know right from wrong, I just keep writing songs. You never know, cause when tomorrow comes I might be gone. I keep on fighting, but goddamn these f***ing nights alone. That's just how it is when you live in the dark times.